In my research, I found out that Zeus from Greek mythology was nurtured by a Capricorn. I, my mother, I was nurtured by a Capricorn. And my grandmother, my favorite person to ever walk the earth, was a Capricorn. So today I decided to tell you guys the mythology of Capricorn from the Greek mythology. Now, mind you, there's a number of different stories, but these are the two that I found repeated the most. Okay? And likewise, every zodiac sign has a mythology. So far, I've done Cancer and Aquarius. Now I'm going to do Capricorn because I forgot that I didn't finish this series. So I'm going to do the introduction right now, and then I'm going to tell you the mythology of Capricorn. Hey, I'm Queen Aset Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, pass it on to anybody and everybody who might like it too, and drop us a positive comment in the comment section. And if you have time, please stick around to the end of the video so that you can hear me read and respond to two of my favorite comments from previous videos, and one of them might be yours. Also, if you would like to get a reading done, please email me. All of my information is underneath this video, so check it out. There is my social information, my social media, my email, my PayPal, my Amazon wish list, my Patreon, Ask an Aquarius merchandise you might want for the holidays. All of that information is underneath this video. So let's get started. Let me tell you guys the mythology of Capricorn. Now, some of you may remember that Zeus was he was quite an interesting an interesting force to be reckoned with. But so was his father. His father had some real issues. His father, according to Greek mythology, had overthrown his own father to become the head king of all the gods, or whatever, that the supreme being, basically. So he had this unnatural fear of his own children overthrowing him. Now, for most of us, this is not something that I ain't gonna say, I'll say for many of us, this is not something that really gives us pause. Like when I think about my child, I think, okay, she's gonna grow up and maybe one day she will take over my business. I don't know what she's gonna do, but I'm open to that, and that would be kind of cool. But Zeus didn't think so. Zeus was not open to it, and he did not think it was cool. And he was thinking, okay, I overthrew my father and became king. One of my children is going to overthrow me and become king. So Zeus, his father, I think his name was Kronos and his wife's name was Rhea. So he decided that he was going to swallow his children whole. Okay, so he's going to swallow them whole, so they're not going to be dead, but they're going to be in a state of suspension, so they can't possibly overthrow him until he chooses to release them. Okay, so every time his bride, his queen, would give birth to another child, and there was many of them before Zeus, he would grab the baby from her and swallow the baby. So inside of his belly were all of his children, alive, but in some kind of weird suspension state. Well, you can imagine, as a mother, Rhea didn't like this. She was not feeling this at all, but it was very little she could do about it. So when she gave birth to Zeus, the last child, she said, what if I get a little bit clever? I love women. I love how they're like, okay, I'm in a bad situation, but maybe I can use my wits to do something here. So she got clever and decided that she was going to take a boulder, wrap the boulder in a blanket, and give that to her husband to swallow. instead of her newborn baby boy. And she did. And some kind of way he didn't notice. I was sitting there reading the mythology like, you didn't notice that the rock wasn't wiggling or breathing or doing anything? But okay, it's mythology. They might leave some parts out. And so he swallowed the rock whole, and she smuggled Zeus far, far away to hide him in the hills. Now, depending upon which version of the story you get, in one version, he was nurtured by Capricorn. Capricorn was half goat and like half fish. It was like this being. And this being was nurturing and a feminine being. And she, this goat, hybrid, is the one that nurtured Zeus. So she literally fed him with her milk and grew him up to manhood. In other versions of the story, it was a woman who was in charge of some goats. She was like a goat herder or something like that, She was like somebody who, took care of goats and, would be the expert in town on goats and things like that. And she raised Zeus on goat milk. So either way, he's raised on goat milk. The question is it a human woman or is it this goat being? One or the other. So she hid him there, and when he came of age, his father's fears came true. He went, defeated his father, released his siblings, and him and his siblings ruled Mount Olympus. Zeus was the supreme because he was the one that killed him. I think he killed his father, or it was a battle. It was a big war. If you want to read the Greek mythology about it, it was a big war. But from what I remember, they defeated his father and his army and became, the gods of Olympus that we all know and love today. So that is the mythology of Capricorn. Now, what does this tell us about Capricorn? Because remember, every mythology tells you something about the sign. Well, the first thing that it tells us is that the goat. So Capricorn takes on the characteristics of a goat. Goats are known to be stubborn. That's the biggest thing I can remember about goats. They're known to be stubborn. And also, they're known to be nurturing because they have milk. So Capricorns do have that energy about them. Very, my mom did have a very nurturing kind of energy. She just didn't have a very emotional energy. But she did have a nurturing energy. She baked and she made pudding and cookies and cakes, and she was really good with those kinds of things. She made me dresses and gave me the best presents and, stuff like that. So that nurturing aspect of Capricorn is shown with the goat. Also, the goat obviously nurtured Zeus. And then think about the fact that the goat, or the woman with the goats, is taking care of Zeus way, way, way out of way, because they don't want the father to, hear Zeus crying or to, catch on that his wife tricked him. So according to the mythology, they're way off in the hills somewhere. So again, it shows that toughness of Capricorn. Capricorns are very tough. A lot of them have this very strong, it's a strong goat. They have this strong energy. And that's where that stubbornness a lot of times comes in too. So here she is in the middle of nowhere raising another woman's child, and helping, take care of him and nurture him and raise him up to manhood, So that's what the mythology tells us about Capricorn. Now, of course, there's a lot more to Capricorns than just that. For example, Capricorns are generally very great in business or making money, those kind of ventures. My mother is really amazing at saving money. I can't believe it. She really does well with that. I'm awful with it, and she does so great with that. So this mythology is telling us those some of those characteristics of Capricorn. But it's a really short story. It's not a long story, and there are other stories about Capricorn. That was just the one from the Greeks that is mostly used. Okay? All right, guys. Now we are going to read and talk about two of my favorite comments. The first one came from Technic Junglist. Technic, let me see. Technic said, I collect 80s vintage Care Bears, that may or may not still sleep with me at the age of 37. Don't tell anybody. Another Aquarius who likes to collect things like that. I have, what do I have? I have My Little Pony. I got a Cabbage Patch Kid, all kind of Harry Potter stuff. And this is just the stuff that I have with me. I have a lot of toys and stuffed animals and pops and teddy bears in storage. So it's very common for us, and she's into the 80s vintage Care Bears. The Care Bears was a cute little show too. Anybody who didn't see it, that was really adorable. The Care Bears are adorable, the whole thing. I love little adorable franchises, those feel-good franchises. All right, so then we have Brenna, author. Hey, Brenna. Brenna said, I don't mix well with Libras, but I've never met a well-balanced one either. Yeah, that's a big difference, because if you have a well-balanced Libra, you're going to have in general, a pretty cool person. I really like Libras. Libra is like, romantically speaking, Libra is like my favorite sign to date. So when they're balanced, they're really cool. But when they're not, it's a real weird experience to be with an unbalanced Libra, because they play a lot of head games. And as an Aquarius, they're air and I'm air. So I'm not playing with you, boo-boo. Not gonna happen. So yeah, a well-balanced Libra is definitely a whole different kind of relationship. All right, guys, it's time for us to get going. So you come back soon, because I got a lot more to say. See you later.